Good evening, everyone. My name is Anakin, and I am the owner of Spear Bear Studio. And I am going to talk to you tonight about the skills that are in our game. Now, for Colonies and Conquerors, you get actual skill points that you can spend towards skills, languages, other perks, and spells, and also weapons training as well. So, um, I'll do a quick rundown, so this won't be a long video, but this will give a better understanding of what you can do with your skills. First of all, your classes that you choose for your character do not restrict on what skills that you may know. That way, you are welcome to put your skill points in anything that fits for your character's like possible backstory or what you're going for. Um, I always felt being restricted by your skills is like I understand it, but also it's kind of weird in some aspects. But with this here, you're freely able to customize however you want. But I will do a quick rundown of what each skill does, and we'll go from there. So, as far as the skills go, for your might, your physical skills, there is athletics, jump, climb, and swim. Those are your four. Um, three of them are pretty straightforward: the jump, climb, and swim. Athletics, though, if you need to do something that's not necessarily as cut and dry when it comes to doing something like physically, you probably will turn to that skill. The big thing for it is wrestling other characters, um, which it talks about the whole process of wrestling other people, about what roles they need to do against you. Wrestling does not provoke attacks from other people. When you choose to do wrestling or wrestle somebody, you can do it as either a primary or a secondary action. And your first roll, if it succeeds, you got a hold of somebody. They can still attack, they can still flail around, but you restrict their speed to zero. Um, but um, they don't get benefits from like agility, skills, and armor and on defense rolls. So it can leave them sitting there, and other people can get bonuses to attack them, and then you can move them around and attack them or shove them to the ground or disarm them with further wrestling rolls. So athletics and wrestling can be pretty powerful in that way. Um, then we have agility, which we have acrobatics, which is like gymnastic maneuvers, be able to bend your limbs to the limits. Disable, that is for basically that is for dealing with devices, but instead of you like using your mind to break that item down, safely disarm something, you're really just doing a quick jamming it, or some other method like that. It's quick, it gets the job done, but it most likely will wreck whatever you're doing. There's drive, that is for you to control a vehicle, that doesn't require any animals. So like ships, boats, or cars, if you have an inventor that's going to push technology that way. Um, you have hide. So for hiding, this is when you do rolls against someone that has line of sight of you, but you have a possible object to hide behind. Um, there is open lock. That's for picking locks, doors, chests, that sort of thing. Pickpocket. That's straightforward. You're picked by another person. Ride. That's for riding, mounts, things that require animals and beasts. Sneak. That's for when you're trying to be stealthy around somebody that is just has to use listen against you. So they don't have line of sight. You're not visible, but noise is an option. Things are going to rely more on sight than they are going to do by listening. So if you have to make a choice out of the two, do spot instead of listen, if possible. Um, use rope. That's for using ropes, chains, things like that. It's also used for doing lasso maneuvers, so which is kind of in place of wrestling, but you can lasso people instead. Then you got mind, which a lot of the crafting skills fall into, like cooking, engineering, gunsmithing. They aren't considered mind skills, so they're stacked up in there. There's insight, which is for discerning if someone's lying to you. You have hunches. Investigation, that's you looking over a place or an object, room, an area, look for clues, anything that's hidden. Your knowledge skills are things of academics, like you knowing the realms of existence or religions or mysticism, which is knowledge of magic and supernatural. Each of the skills in the Adventures rulebook has descriptions, but that's where that falls in. You got your languages. You have survival, which is, if you need to learn to live off the land, that's what you turn to. Use artifact is for when you're using bizarre magical items that aren't cut and dry with the results. There's a use technology skill that's in the same way. It's using a device that does not have a an A and B result. There it can vary. Um, and then you got listen for that's what you use against other people that are trying to do sneak, and then spot for anyone that's trying to use hide on you. Then you got appeal, or your appeal skills, which is deception, your ability to lie on people. Haggling, which is your ability to barter with others and try to make a deal. If you haggle someone, you're going against their own haggling skill, and they're on the defense, so you have to beat their roll. There's intimidation, which is threaten people. There's perform, which is you acting, could be doing some playing out. And then there's persuasion, which is you like using diplomacy or coming to a compromise to pass something. Seduction, that's you being flirtatious or using your sexual energy to get your way. Then you got your faith skills, which is beast handling. The reason why that is in there is because animals definitely read off like whether you're fearful or not, and it falls within that better. Ritual is you using anything long term spell casting, possibly, or a process. You don't necessarily need to know spells to do ritual, which ritual is what you need to enchant items. Um, you'll have to do you have to get a item component called Divine Tier, and then you can attempt a ritual to enchant an item. And depending on your role, it'll tell you how powerful the enchant, and you get to choose the enchant that you want to put on it. And anyone can do it, whether or not you know magic or not. It's just a built in the skill. There's a will skill, which is your ability to um, keep your composure and not be seduced, intimidated, or persuaded by others. And it can be really good. So we have our luck skills for the final. Which luck? There's gambling, which there are many gambling games. Both both in like European cultures and Native American cultures have their own gambling games. And this skill is for when you're gambling against other people. You'd be using your gambling roll against theirs, and depending who you determine who's on the defense or the offense, might have a slight advantage. Like if you're gambling at a casino, the casino's on the defender. They have that slight advantage against you, and that's something in modern day too. I was a casino host. I know how that went. So, um, the other luck skill is Twist Fate, which this one is. It sounds crazy at first, but people that understand it enjoy it. So what Twist Fate is, it's like let's say you do a skill roll and you roll poorly. You can burn and interrupt to try to twist fate, which is manipulating the forces of luck. And you'll roll your skill. There's a chart for determining like your result. So like I believe it's like let's say you roll like a 25. It's if you roll 25 on twist fate, it means you can add a +5 to the original roll skill roll that you're rolling for. So which would be like let's say you were crafting something and you need the extra 5, so you would be like, well, I'm gonna burn and interrupt the twist fate and hopefully make it better. Um, and it might. Or the other thing, you might add, you might accidentally add a -5, or if you do really poor, a -10 to that skill roll that you were trying to accomplish. Twist Fate can do many things, and if used properly, it can be powerful, but it also can be a hindrance as well. But yeah, those are the skills for Colonies and Conquerors. I will be posting more videos up as well. Please like, follow, and share. And yeah, I'll keep telling more about the game and what things can happen. If you have suggestions or things you'd like to hear, please leave in the comments below. And have a good night.